What's up, you guys? Sapp here for the Fightful.com podcast, September 13th edition. We've got Smackdown to talk about. We have DraftBeast.com to talk about. Visit our great sponsors over at DraftBeast.com. Fantasy football, you know where it's happening at. DraftBeast.com. Enter their goon games. They've got games where you pick the worst team possible. They have your traditional games, the most fun you will have playing daily fantasy sports, my friend. Also on it, go check out what the likes of Cesaro, what the likes of Triple H, Bailey, Adam Cole, Mickey Gall, and CM Punk actually use on it. You can go to our podcast page, Fightful.com/podcast, open up any of those pages and see our on it link. Click that. It helps us a ton. But we have Smackdown to talk about. But more importantly, Jeff Hawkins, who is here with me from Shake Them Ropes.
Hi.
We have a new 30 for 30 coming out.
Do we?
Yes. What if I told you that a wrestling television show would be anchored by The Miz and Heath Slater, and it would kick ass?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Oh, by the way, for your draft bees, if you want a real goon team, just draft Rams. They're terrible. They're just terrible.
Yes.
It's interesting that Miz was in the main event here, because as I'm watching this show, I had this, what I thought was a salient point where it was, well, if you want to make the comedy more impactful on this show, because they do a little bit too much entertaining for my taste that doesn't resonate, you have to make it more serious. And I thought, okay, whatever. And then as soon as Miz comes out and jumps James Ellsworth, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, and that's cool. Great. No, again, Smackdown, much lighter in tone in terms of pacing and whatnot, and it's a far more digestible watch than Raw. As you can tell, because poor Rob stressed himself out so much last night, he couldn't make the show.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Now, this show is even more digestible to me because I don't start watching it until 8:40. Okay. I catch up. I don't watch any commercials at all. Well, until maybe the last 20 minutes when I'm caught up. But I was able to go out and have dinner with my wife. We were able to go look at houses and things of that nature.
Oh.
I roll up. Yeah, we're doing that. But I roll up at like 8:30, and I've got a message from WWE Blogger Diva on Twitter that says, "Whoa, SmackDown is good." And I was like, well, I have something to look forward to. I started watching SmackDown, and it is good. It's very good. I really enjoyed it. I have fun watching SmackDown. This week was no exception.
And even the pay-per-view on Sunday was a lot. I mean, that over-delivered in my estimation. I mean, on paper, you look at that and you go, but as a show, paper, it was a lot of fun.
On paper, it barely existed because there were like 5.5 matches set. Not only that, it was, I would go as far as to say it was one of the most underwhelming looking WWE pay-per-views maybe ever. And then it over-delivered. It was such an enjoyable show. There was nothing really on that show that I didn't like.
Yeah, I would say, let's put it this way. I went, nothing angered me, nothing ticked me off, nothing bored me. I mean, it's not a memorable pay-per-view by any means, but it entertained me. It didn't make me feel like I had wasted my time watching it, which is all I want out of a wrestling pay-per-view for the most part.
Hell yeah. Guys, if you all haven't been to Fightful.com, please go do so. We have your MMA, your wrestling, your boxing. We have more live viewing parties than any website anywhere. I mean anywhere. You name a website, not even Reddit. You can create your own there. And they don't even have as many as us. We covered everything from WWE Backlash to Cage Warriors this weekend. Pancrase in the middle of the night was covered by our own David Tees. Lots of cool stuff there at Fightful.com. Plus, we have all these exclusives. You see all the exclusive stories on Matt Riddle. You see all the exclusive stuff from Bellator. We have the interviews with CM Punk, Daniel Cormier, Chael Sonnen, the biggest names in pro wrestling and MMA. All at Fightful.com. Of course, we have our Wednesday podcast with Showdown Joe, our Friday podcast with Vince Russo, and a new one with Matt Riddle on Thursdays. If you all didn't check that out last Thursday, former UFC star, now PWG and Evolve Pro Wrestling talent, Matt Riddle on the show. Jeff, I understand you watched it and you were a fan of said podcast.
Oh yeah, no, it was very insightful for me, especially. And I think Matt Riddle is great in that he's very, very opinionated. I grew to fall in love with Matt Riddle at the Evolve shows during WrestleMania weekend, and he was absolutely spectacular in those. He also made a couple points, one of which reinforced something I thought, and one of which was kind of new to me but makes sense. The first one was, when WWE goes out to recruit guys, they're recruiting these top athletes, and top athletes are very focused. They're very goal-oriented, and so they don't really develop personalities. They're more interested in getting to their benchmarks and accomplishments, and that's why they don't necessarily translate into the quote-unquote entertainment world of professional wrestling. So for me, I'm thinking, well, I mean, that's a problem in recruiting right there. They should go here in Los Angeles and look for stuntmen, possibly, who are also actors, and recruit from that thing. And the other thing he said that really I hadn't thought about before, but makes complete sense, is they were asking why MMA fighters don't necessarily or MMA stars don't necessarily translate to the pro wrestling world. And he said it's because they're not used to fighting from behind and firing up a comeback. They're always on top. They're always dominating unless they're getting their butts kicked, and then that's the end of the fight. So yeah, no, that makes complete sense why it's not a natural fit sometimes for guys like Rampage or even King Mo in some respects to come in and then have to show ass in a ring and fire up for a babyface type comeback. So no, he drops these.
Pro wrestling charisma and MMA charisma are way different. Like,
yes.
I couldn't count how many times people said, "Oh, Rampage Jackson, King Mo, they'd be great pro wrestlers." No, they were in fact shitty pro wrestlers, and their charisma didn't transfer over. You can barely understand what King Mo is saying when he talks. Rampage doesn't have that. Tito Ortiz didn't have that.
Yeah, I'll give you another corollary that from non-MMA. People love to say Shaq would make a great actor / movie star, whatever, because he's so funny on these NBA things, and he has quote unquote personality when he do 3-word at a time sentences and things like that. But you realize it's a completely different world and a completely different kind of charisma to be entertaining as a quote unquote actor than it is as a sports personality, so to speak.
Absolutely. Plus, we've seen Shaq do that, and he was not very good at it.
Kazam?
I had the steel action figures from that movie.
Oh God, I
did. Oh, I would do like I would be like a 9-year-old kid, and I would play with them. And I had 2 of the Shaq toys, and they would be like my twin jobbers. Body. That's just how they were. I would never let them break that glass ceiling in my action figure wrestling federation.
You were the Stephanie McMahon.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I would emasculate her. You're 7 feet tall and you can't even win a match. And then I'd have the authority figure just slap them, and it's over.
What kind of man are you? Just shaking an action figure.
Oh yeah, this was back in the 90s, so the action figure audience probably made up of a bunch of stuffed animals. They didn't know any better. They were just eating the shit I was feeding them. There was no internet. They weren't getting on America Online and voicing their displeasure. Hell no. Either way, we had Smackdown to talk about tonight. Definitely check out our podcast with Matt Riddle each and every Thursday. Like I said, guys, support the site. Share the pages, the stories on Facebook, in Facebook groups, Reddit, Twitter. It really helps us out. We're doing our best to bring you the best site possible. Anytime you all give us feedback, it goes into a log, whether it's an email, whether it's a tweet, anything. Our owner reads it. Our tech team reads it. I read it. Anybody who happens, like Alex Palowski, our associate editor, he takes a look at them. Anything of that nature, we want to make this the best site possible. There's a big crossover audience between pro wrestling, MMA, and boxing, as we saw last weekend with the CM Punk situation, which we'll talk about later. And we want you all to really capitalize. We want you all to enjoy the site for what it is. If you don't like one of those 3, you're not forced to read it. We have tabs for each of those, MMA, boxing, and wrestling, that you can go to, bookmark, get all your news that way. But yeah, Fun
Let
stuff.
me put over also the Herculean effort Alex has put in on the recaps and the post shows for both Backlash and Raw last night. He did a really great job, and it was a fun listen for both shows for me.
In my opinion, Alex does the best live coverage that I've ever seen in my 2 decades nearly of reading pro wrestling recaps online. Nobody does it better. Nobody makes it more entertaining because you get the information and he makes it fun to read as well. So even if you've already watched Raw, go back and check out his recaps. They're unbelievable. Also, we've had him on the show. Usually I like to have established podcasters like Jeff or Rob, or former fighters like Matt Riddle, pro wrestlers, former writers like Vince Russo, or former personalities. Well, Showdown Joe is still very much a personality. But Alex, I wanted on the podcast as much as I could because he covers things in a way in which I've never really seen. So definitely check that out, guys. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. There's a button down here somewhere if you're watching it on YouTube. Somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is, but it's there. We have exclusive interviews, segments, podcasts every weekday. So you get all that as well. Leave us a thumbs up too. It helps. We are coming soon to iTunes. I promise. We are working on it. I get that question every day, at least twice a day. Yes, we are doing iTunes. We're doing Stitcher too, from what I understand. But we do have audio up on the podcast page, Fightful.com/podcast. You can download it in MP3 format, or you can stream it. So we're going to talk about the Smackdown finally.
Yeah.
We're getting to it. We had AJ Styles open up, and he just looks right with that championship, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. He carries that. Now his shtick is a little thick for my liking. I wish he'd tone it down just a bit with the rhymes.
Stop talking about his thick stick, okay?
No, but on the other hand, even though the champ that runs the camp is terrible. It's a terrible line. Lame. It's a terrible line, but it's offset. The flakiness is at least offset by serious John Cena, which is always a nice change coming out. And even Dean Ambrose's angry thing to break up that kind of goofball tension. It's just I don't need my heel to be a goofball champ necessarily. He doesn't need to be a badass, but he also just doesn't need to be a clown either.
We had the return of John Cena, who was kept off TV after SummerSlam because he wouldn't be on the pay-per-view. And I think it maybe paid off. They could have really used him on a few of those shows, though. Maybe have him written off there. But either way, that is come and gone. No time to bitch about that. He brought up Ric Flair and said that, as he once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and he's ready to make history so he can be in the conversation with the man. This was the right promo to do to put him there, because him caring about that record makes this more important to me.
And it's the right audience to do it in front of, the Philadelphia audience, in my opinion, which is a hardcore wrestling town. I just like that you have something that belongs to me, and AJ gives him back the headband. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, no, I like that. You know what? I had heard.
Did you see that tweet last night where AJ Styles, or I think maybe it was a couple nights ago, where he had the headband on and it said, "When the soccer mom becomes the soccer coach." It was great. It was so great.
What I was going to say was, before this, it was weird because John Cena was kind of hesitant. I mean, he's a guy who respects history. I remember, I forget if it was a year or two ago, he's hesitant to break the record, but Flair has kind of given his blessing for it. So I'm more okay with it. And of course, this is, records are made to be broken. I think Miz should break Honky Tonk Man's record on the IC title thing, to be honest with you.
Me too.
But no, I liked this promo a lot, and I liked I like that they're acknowledging this. It's a nice way to fold in reality with the character work.
Do you think Miz will bust out the Honka Perfect Mountie meter?
No, and I don't want him to. I really don't.
He shouldn't.
That was a good thing for Santino. It's not a good thing for this Miz, especially the Miz from the end of the show.
Maybe Santino shows up and brings the Honka Perfect mounting meter and tries to keep Miz from breaking it way down the road.
I'll take that. I'll take a cameo on SmackDown by Santino and him losing a match.
I would too. And he cut a great promo on John Cena. Not only that, John Cena cut a pretty good one on Dean Ambrose as well. He says, because Dean Ambrose complained about losing via low blow, and Cena said, "Hey, bro, you hung this guy up by his balls on the top rope." And I was like, you know what? He did. He did do that. So that made you sympathize a little bit with AJ Styles. It made you understand his point. It made that whole situation come full circle. But then Dean Ambrose cut a great promo about how John Cena is a part-time guy. And it's really one of the best promos I've seen from Dean Ambrose in the WWE, period. Much less since he split from the Shield. This is really good.
No,
Jeff.
I agree with you there as well. The only thing that is a little bit off to me, and I'll see if it's off to you because I kind of take continuity a little bit more seriously than most. This is the only time in recent history, and by recent history for the WWE, I probably mean 3 months, that I can't remember a champ wanting to invoke a rematch clause for a one-on-one match.
He did. He said he did.
Well, no, they stood there and they got the triple threat match. That's what I mean. It's like, well, why isn't Dean kind of complaining about this?
Shane did. Well, it's because Shane said that he will get his one-on-one rematch.
Oh, okay. I glossed over that. Then that's a mea culpa on my part. But no, for the promo.
I mean, it's just your job to know this. That's it.
I want him to be angry, and I got a little bit fearful when he said that the wins and losses of titles don't really matter. I was like, don't go this way. Don't do a Cena here. But no, they brought it back, and Cena and Ambrose's interplay was fantastic, I thought.
Apparently, Daniel Bryan has the mock WWE 2K17 James Ellsworth cover on Talking Smack.
Trolls be trolling.
That show, I am starting to get a little more scared each week that we go up against that show because it is a great show. I watch it every week after this podcast too. It's become must-watch TV to me.
Do we need to reschedule this podcast for after Talking Smack?
Oh gosh, I don't want to because I hate doing podcasts later. I just hate it.
Okay.
I do. By the way, programming note, guys. We are going to do a post-UFC show this weekend, but we're not going to do it right after the show. I looked at that show. I realized that it started at 10 p.m., that it has 6 fights, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to make our viewers, nor Showdown Joe, nor myself, do a podcast from 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. So Showdown Joe and I will be here to do it at noon on Sunday, noon Eastern Sunday. I figure that's a little more convenient for everybody. We get it in before football because I know you guys, you got to go lose to me at draftbeast.com. I sit here and I'm like, hey, listen, I'll do a podcast whenever Sunday. And people are like, no. You have to take my money at draftbeast.com. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, if I have to, I will. And I do. I take their money, but it's noon at Sunday. That's the bottom line. Noon at Sunday is when we're doing this thing. So the triple threat match is set for No Mercy. Main event ready. We have the Usos versus the Hype Bros. This is the rematch from 2 nights ago. Completely fine with this. The only problem I have with this, I don't think they should be using a Superfly Splash as a finish anymore, Jeff. That is very much a babyface move.
Yeah, but the way they do it, they're doing it on someone's knee to hurt them. So
did they do it on his knee? If they did it on his knee, I'm cool with that. I wasn't. Okay,
no. Well, I'm trying to remember the match. I just remember in general that's how they've been hurting people is with the splash onto the knee, which I'm cool with. But if they did a regular one, I would kind of agree with you in some respects. I like this. I like that they destroyed that. Zack Ryder selling an injury.
Granted, an alleged murderer did use this move, so maybe it is a heel move.
Jeez. Mojo's killing people with the pounce, so
yeah. Hey, Mojo's a lot better than Connor and Victor.
I would agree. Well, maybe not Victor, but Connor definitely.
Who was it that tweeted, "Are the Ascension trained?"
Oh, jeez.
There was somebody tonight. I was like, yeah, Good one. We get a vignette for.
But overall, I love these heel Usos. I do. I think it's a nice little bit of life for them.
Sure, thumbs up for that. Hey, it gives them something new. We get a vignette for your boy, Kurt Hawkins. What'd you think of this? It was real shitty.
Oh, it's terrible. My joke was, I hope Kurt Hawkins is AJ Styles' partner, so he can say he had a good match with AJ Styles. nice little Bola 2014 joke for the people. Look, I think this character is dead on arrival. I mean, and he's supposed to be, I think. So
I think he was dead before Arrival.
I mean, he's getting a paycheck. Can't knock the hustle.
I'll say this: I like his interviews he does, that developmentally speaking series.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah,
he's really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I
really hope that he encounters Mojo Rawley and there's some beef there, though. Like for him taking his old tag partner.
Okay, I'll take that.
That could be fun.
My problem is goofball, flaky heels are a little bit too. They're too prevalent on this show. So.
Yeah. That's very true. That's a good point. Miz and Maurice come to the ring for Miz TV. I think it's for Miz TV, or maybe they just came out. Either way, Dolph Ziggler came out and Miz burned the living shit out of him again.
Mm-hmm.
Again. Says that he's going that if he lived and died by the fans, he might as well bury him, just like Dolph's career. Dolph asks for a rematch, but Maurice grabs the mic and starts to say something. Crowd boos her heavily. Great crowd. They are interrupted by Daniel Bryan, who looked like he had a hell of a swing on him from that picture he posted on Instagram of him taking batting practice. Did you see that?
I didn't, but I would expect. I mean, he's a pretty good natural athlete, so, I mean.
Wow, yeah, but how many times have you seen people that you would assume be able to throw? Or did you see Jake Shields at that press conference when he threw that water bottle?
Yes.
Oh, my God, that was horrible. He looked like he threw like a girl, which granted he punches like one, but.
Wow.
And now he would kick the living shit out of me on the feet or on the ground, but I'm just saying, not the best, but Daniel Bryan's swing looked A+, man. But either way, Miz, I love this, that he says he's not defending the title until he gets what he wants, and there's nothing Daniel Bryan can do about it. I love that they're bringing up negotiations into these storylines. That is awesome, Jeff.
That's great. I like that. Now, I don't know. How are they going to pay this off? I mean, if you're looking down the road and you wanted to speculate a bit, are they going to end up trading Miz to Raw because of the contract thing? Because I've seen that speculated on. I mean, for me, the only problem with it is it brings whether or not he's going to be holding this belt for a while into question. That's my only concern about it.
What could you see them doing with Miz? Because if they're trading an Intercontinental Champion, they'll have to get
they'll get the U.S. champion,
champion.
Whoever it is, and it might be Cesaro when he takes it from Rusev.
Sure. If it is Rusev, I could see them doing a thing like this show cannot operate with Rusev and Roman Reigns both on it type of deal, like one of those, and they just get rid of him and get the U.S. champion and.
Well, my thinking is, this best of 7 they've said is for a championship opportunity, but they didn't say which championship necessarily.
Yeah. Did they say that? Did they say it will be a championship opportunity?
They did that. Well, that's the term, but I mean they've said once, I think, that it was for the world title, or for the Smackdown or whatever they call it, Universal title. But they may drop that.
And what if it's a tag team title opportunity and it's those two against whoever?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I mean, I'd much rather this play out for a long time because I like the interplay between Miz and Daniel Bryan, quite frankly. I like there being tension in a wrestling show because the tension and the seriousness then pays off the comedy when it's brought up.
Let's talk about how much better the SmackDown Authority figures are than Raw. They're more natural. They're more personable.
They're less hands-on. They are less hands-on and less manipulative, which makes the tone of the show much easier to watch, quite frankly. They're like the old territory bosses who would come in once in a while. If there was a major – when they come in, it makes sense. They're not coming in just to come in. They're not cutting promos just to cut promos and to be on TV. It's, oh, my top stars are arguing. I need to go out there and fix it right now. Boom. Makes sense.
Also, they had this thing with Mick Foley, and Mick Foley was a great commissioner back in the day, but now he's got to play a stern, no-nonsense guy, and that's really not who he is. And they did that thing where he, like, snapped last night about his integrity, but it was such a random snap. It's like, dude, chill out, man. Like, I felt bad for him, the guy he was snapping on, because it's like, now if this had happened over the course of a solid minute, but, like, there was one little comment, and he's like, don't you dare.
No, I think I know what they're doing here is they're playing him up to be a patsy. He has Stephanie's back, and so he takes it very seriously about the integrity and his judgment and things of that nature. So when they call it into question, he snaps, and then eventually he's going to be made to look like a dummy.
Yeah, as most do when they're involved with Stephanie McMahon. We had Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. That didn't happen. Apollo got hit with the end of days outside. Boy, this guy.
Ooh.
I wish they would send him back to NXT. I really wish they would send him back to NXT, and he would find an edge, find something there.
I agree. Or put him in, or find a tag team partner for him and really build them as a team as opposed to two geeks who have a gimmick.
Yeah. Jack Swagger came out of nowhere. He is the newest member of the Smackdown Live team, and he says that you don't know Jack.
I like Jack Swagger. I think he should be a monster on this roster. I think his legitimate wrestling background gives him the credibility that he should be getting built to wrestle guys like Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. I loved him as a kind of, I mean, he's a giant how tall is he? 6'5", 6'6"?
No, he's not that big. He's
I thought he was. Okay, I thought he was a little bit taller than that.
Still, he's a huge man.
Because he played offensive line in college, and those are usually much bigger. He's playing a role here that doesn't fit him. He's playing a giant song and dance man, not unlike when they have the Big Show do these types of things at times, when he should be a little harder edged, which would have been nice for that kind of stare down, because I liked the stare down. I hated this promo. I did.
Terrible.
I did not like it. He has a hot wife, which is still in the Carl Anderson kind of thing. You're trying to make a badass a song and dance man, and it didn't fit with me. And I think Swagger's here to basically make Corbin look better, but at the same time, he'd look better by making it seem like these two big guys are going to have a hoss battle rather than wacky, funny, entertaining Jack Swagger coming out here and giving puns like Becky Lynch and talking about his hot wife.
Jack Swagger has proven on multiple occasions that he can be a very serviceable mid to upper mid card guy for WWE.
And if he had a real manager, he could be a top guy.
There's a guy named Bob Backlund who is doing jack shit with Darren Young, and given his background and Jack Swagger's background, that could be good. Hey, bring back the damn Eagle. Where's he at? Who was in that suit? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was Jimmy Golden.
Yeah, Jimmy Golden.
Yeah.
There you go. Jimmy Golden. That Eagle was great. Was that his dad? That was his quote unquote dad.
His quote unquote dad, but let's not do
Bunkhouse Buck.
Let's not.
Dirty son of a bitch. Oh my God. Every time I saw him in like WCW, I was like, dirty. He just looks dirty.
Yeah, he always looked like he needed a shower.
Yeah, which that was the deal.
And he was always with his uncle or his cousin, Robert Parker. Rob Parker was his
Oh
Robert
God,
Fuller. Yeah.
That embodied every stereotype of WCW fans at the time, right?
Well, that's me. I liked Southern wrestling, so I love it. I mean, Continental and everything else. I mean, he was great in that. He was sleazy. He was sleazy heartthrob in Smoky Mountain. If you ever
all
saw
they
him
needed
there.
was Tracy Smothers. That's all they needed.
Oh yeah.
He was too busy pretending to be Italian, which was also great.
Give him Stokely Hathaway. Bring him up.
That would be great. Becky Lynch comes out as we come out for a commercial. She talks about, and she does her thing. She does her super, super white meat babyface promo. Mm-hmm. We get a fatal 5-way number one contender match. I enjoyed this. The only thing that I didn't enjoy Naomi has got to get on the same page as everybody else she's working with, especially Natalya. She hit the Bubba Bomb, and she turned around and looked for Natalya to hit her running drop kick, which Natalya shouldn't do. It's a stupid, shitty move. I love Natalya. I think she is both great personally and in the ring. But that thing where she runs over them and then does the front drop kick, every front drop kick I've ever seen looks like it hurts the person that's giving the move more than the person taking it, first off. Except in rare instances when I've seen Finn Balor kick someone from the middle of the ring all the way across. Some rare instances.
Bro.
But if you're going to sit there, if you're sitting there in that Bubba Bomb position, throw a full Nelson on, throw a body scissors on, do something to look busy as you're supposed to have a reason for being there.
Yeah, and Carmella got lost once, I think, in there. There was an interplay with Natalie that she was supposed to do, and I think she had to repeat the spot to get into place. But
listen, all Von Dale had his little girl ready, so don't start talking shit.
Bro, Sean Ross Sapp, can I tell you something?
No.
I love the way this women's division is being booked and laid out, in that heels don't like each other and baby faces are able to take advantage of other baby faces at the time. I love opportunistic Alexa Bliss. I thought that was one of the highlights of the 6-way match on Sunday, and this where she's just trying multiple pins on whoever's on the ground and just throwing them out if they're not getting pinned. I like the Harley Quinn look.
I do too.
Quite frankly. And I am looking for – I think this program is going to be really good for her. She has improved so much since getting turned heel and then eventually breaking away from Blake and Murphy, which was, God, those two are just albatrosses around her neck. And she has a lot of great natural heelish personality if she can stay away from the puns, because her and Becky have that same pun gimmick. She's thinking of things that, she can add in Bliss to. And Becky, but this promo by Becky I liked quite a bit, even though, even when she's goofy, Becky Lynch is so damn endearing that you can't help but like her a bit. And then she goes in the ring and she throws suplexes on you like she's a beast. Like, I'd kill for an Asuka NXT Becky program on SmackDown right now. But this will do for right now, and I like that they're going to set up a B feud, and they're giving some depth to this division. Now, I had a question, what's Eva Marie going to do when she comes back? And the answer is going to be she's not going to have an effect on this whatsoever, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. And she does come back, next week maybe? Yes, next week. Her suspension is up Sunday. So here's my dream for Alexa Bliss. They're backstage. You see Dennis Haskins, who played Mr. Belding, hanging out back there. Alexa Bliss walks up and says, "What are you doing talking to my grandma?" And it's Miss Bliss from Saved by the Bell. Just chatting it up with Mr. Belding. Sean Ross Sapp.
Who's that? Piper? Hold on. Who is that? Piper Laurie? I forget the name of who played Miss Bliss, but she's an old British actress.
Haley Mills.
Haley Mills, that's what it is. She's Mills.
70, so maybe.
I don't think you're gonna be able to get Haley Mills for.
Oh, come on.
I just don't. I think she has too much. She has too much class to go on a show.
She hasn't done anything in like 5 or 6 years, I don't think. What did she ever do? I don't know. What did she ever do? What was
I want God, now I can't even remember her name. I want Harley Bliss to have a barbed wire covered baseball bat that she brings down to the ring just to bring the psychotic out of her. But
I mean, we say this is unreasonable, but Beaker is Sheamus's cousin in WWE. That's a thing that happens. Macaulay Culkin showed up and reprised his role.
You just can't let that go, kid. You just can't let my little joke go or my comment go. You have to actually deconstruct this. Come on.
Hell no. I mean, this is all possible. This is stuff that can happen. Listen, guys, you don't just get inside news from the Fightful.com podcast. We provide you with realistic booking scenarios as well.
and worthless news. It's great.
Sure. Hey, I don't like listening to shows that aren't fun to listen to. Like, you can give me all the news that you want, all the inside stuff. And I mean, you guys know we talk to these people, sure. But if it's not fun, then what the hell's the point? I don't want to sit around listening to people take things too damn literally. It's not fun. Okay.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, this women's division is such a plus for this show. It really is, and they've done a great job of building up the weaker members of the division.
Another one that's over delivered here on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather they now that they've done these two multi-women matches, let's get down to building these one-on-one feuds. So you have kind of a hierarchy, so that we don't have to do a 5-way every time we need a new title contender. We can do a one-on-one of two people who have been naturally built up. You have one in the holster that you eventually then use those people to build up as well, and you keep it kind of circulating and going. That's what I want for this division right now.
We had the Heath Slater contract signing. This was a real thing, and I had a friend who legitimately tuned in just to watch this. Heath Slater's YouTube segment last week, where he introduced the WWE Universe to his family, was the most watched thing in relation to SmackDown in their YouTube rankings, which you can find every Monday and Tuesday at Fightful.com. Heath Slater signs his contract, gets a bunch of huge pops. Rhino gets ECW pops. So some fun, some happy stuff here, Jeff.
They took a total clown and got him over. He got over doing that. And it was great. And I liked the contract signing a little bit. I would have liked for this to have been a bit of a pivot in the character a bit more. You know, being, genuinely thankful for the opportunity as opposed to kind of doing the wacky, funny, oh, thank you very much, kind of thing. But it'll work. But
he's a tag team champion. He's overjoyed.
Yeah, no, and I get that. And I like that they are setting the seeds for Rhino's going to kill this fool. Rhino's going to absolutely kill him for continuing to throw him into situations where he has to save him. And I'm loving that. And I'm hoping that does. That has a nice slow progression to it as opposed to rushing. He's
going to lose some votes if that happens.
It'll be after Election Day.
A true politician, this guy.
Because he's going to lose anyways in the district he's in.
Oh.
I hate to say that, but it's a very bright blue district he's in, and he is running as a red.
The Ascension come out, ask for a title shot. They're giving it, even though Heath Slater doesn't want it.
Sure, why not?
Do the Ascension suck ass? They were so bad. They messed up repeatedly and got gored for a pin, and that was it. So
it's amazing to me how not good they are. I like Victor a lot as a person. His personality, especially if you saw his up, down, down, was phenomenal and very funny. Connor has been in this system for about 10 years, and he's still like this. I don't understand. I mean, I get that he's big, but man.
They let Matt Morgan go.
Yeah, and Matt Morgan was heads and shoulders above this guy.
Literally and figuratively.
I knew as soon as I said that.
Yeah. Way better. We have Randy Orton coming out and saying things, and then Bray Wyatt shows up and says things, and none of it matters, and it's all stupid, and it's all pointless. But the lights go out, Eric Rowan shows up and gets RKO'd by Randy Orton.
Yeah, after he had already been kicked out of the Wyatt clan, which seems odd. And the only thing I'm noting this was that Randy Orton was wearing pants.
Yeah, he was wearing pants. So this Randy Orton situation, really weird.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. He was kept off of his match with Bray Wyatt 2 nights ago. He has not wrestled since SummerSlam, technically. Well, technically he did, rather. But hasn't really wrestled since then. It's being said he has a concussion, but he does the RKO, which requires him to take a bump. He's done that 3 times now, each of the last 3 nights, because he wrestled a live event match with John Cena last night against Wyatt and Rowan. Cena worked the majority of it. Orton didn't get worked over at all. He did a little bit tonight. This is weird, Jeff.
It can't really be a concussion-related thing.
It can't.
Because of the liability of him going out there and doing this, there are legal ramifications to this should it ever be brought up in a lawsuit. So it has to be just they decided against the program on that show and wanted to save it for something else. That's the only thing I can think of.
Very rarely do I get absolutely stonewalled when I ask around among backstage talents or workers or anything about this. And I got like almost comically the same response from 3 people. 3 people that said, no idea. That was the exact terminology from 3 different people. No idea, or I have no idea. Kind of fishy.
It feels like they may be using that to look for leaks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, yeah, something's up there. And hey, I like to say, hey, we talk to these people. I got nothing for you here.
No, you know what? It didn't screw up the pay-per-view at all. I mean, the Kane Bray Wyatt thing, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was watchable.
Hey, that was the beneficiary of a kick-ass crowd, if I've ever seen one. It really helped out. I wish every crowd came there ready to enjoy the night like that. But to their credit, they were also given plenty of reason to enjoy that night.
Yes.
They weren't given a reason to shit on everything.
I agree.
AJ Styles has been backstage throughout the night. He went up to Baron Corbin, asked him to be his partner. Corbin says he'd rather be his opponent. Kane laughs at him. But Daniel Bryan, it was Shane McMahon who had a partner for him. And it's James.
It was Daniel Bryan. You're right.
Who cares?
Okay.
Who cares? Oh. It's James Ellsworth.
Yes. The man with no chin.
I got to set up that interview now. I slacked on it. I was like, all right, if they're going to have a jobber every week, I don't want to interview all of them. It's going to be hard to track them all down. I got to interview this guy.
I have some bad news. There's an interview lined up with him.
I'm sure there is.
Oh, yeah. No, Jericho's having him on Friday.
Oh, I know that. I know he is.
Okay.
I look forward to it.
All right.
They've already recorded the interview.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna listen to it.
Oh yeah.
Either way,
doesn't mean you don't have better questions.
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do too.
I do. AJ Styles, he comes out.
He's fighting Ruckus.
But Ellsworth gets slaughtered by The Miz on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
This was great. This was awesome. This was everything it needed to be.
Made logical sense too. Screw Daniel Bryan. He wants to be part of the main event. He wants to be taken seriously, and Daniel Bryan comes in, puts this geek in a main event role. Oh, no, I'm going to ruin that for him. I'm going into the main event. I'm going to beat on this guy. I absolutely liked it. Loved it.
It was great.
Yeah.
So you got The Miz and AJ Styles against Dean Ambrose, John Cena. Really cool stuff. Really great stuff. The match was fine. Miz got beat clean with an attitude adjustment, per usual. What did you think about The Miz taking that defeat with the role that he's on?
Someone had to take. I mean, I would have rather had like a count-out win or something like that. But if someone's going to take a pin, it's out of those 4, it's going to be him. And it kind of gives the. They don't want to make him too much of a main eventer. So it kind of helps make him top of the mid-card here. I don't have a huge problem with it because, again, they don't think wins and losses matter, so I'm not going to take it as seriously as some. I wouldn't have done it on this roll, to be honest.
After the match, Dean Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds to a chorus of boos.
That shocked me. That absolutely flabbergasted me. In Philadelphia, the place where they cheer heels, the place that ruined the Royal Rumble one year, but this isn't a Philly Raw crowd. It's a Philly Smackdown crowd that probably bought tickets before they knew about this brand split. So you're not necessarily going to get the most hardcore of hardcores necessarily, but this is a heel town. How did that happen?
Well, that's the reaction WWE wanted, and they got it. That does not usually happen with John Cena-related stuff.
Put on your conspiracy hat. Was this sweetened or were these actual boos?
Oh, this is actual booze. This was live.
All right.
This is live, my friend. I mean, think of all the things they could have. This was live. This was super live.
Oh, it was live, but it doesn't mean you can't toy with the audio.
You can, but Hey, I was looking at the body language, all that stuff. By the way, guys, you can send in questions if you'd like. I forgot to mention that. Lots of stuff that you could do to the audio, but they didn't do it.
Okay.
Is this an Ambrose heel turn?
No.
Or is it is it a tweener type of deal? What is it?
It's the quote unquote new Austin / Piper dynamic where he's a tweener.
He should be too, because that's the perfect role for him.
Yes, he is supposed to be kind of anarchy in a package. That's what he was. I mean, that's what we loved about him in the Shield, was he was kind of this guy who you never knew when he was just going to blow out, no matter who was in front of him. And that's, you know what, that's the Dean Ambrose character, and that's what we should get. Yeah, I totally agree.
No cheeseball shit, please. No cheeseball shit.
No prop comedy.
Somebody asked a question: do you see the Miz holding the WWE Championship anytime soon within the next 2 years? That's a hell of a question, Jeff.
2 years? Sure, I could see that. I don't
especially
think it's
with his brands.
Not in the next
brand split.
Yeah, not in the next year, but maybe in the next 2. Sure.
Somebody had also mentioned, I see a lot of the people that are trolling CM Punk are wrestling fans. Meanwhile, MMA fans and fighters tend to be on his side of things. That's true. I mean, there are a lot of jaded wrestling fans who wanted a reason to be upset, but most of the MMA fighters at a high level that I saw, you have a few that are like, I can't believe he's getting paid this much. I can't believe he was getting paid that little. And I can't believe that the people that complain are getting paid as little as they are. You know who they shouldn't be mad at? CM Punk. You know who they should be mad at? Themselves for not unionizing by now.
I don't even think it's unionizing. I think it's just taking care of your own brand for the most part. And if you got to be mad at someone, you should be mad at the Ohio State Commission for licensing this. You can't blame anybody in the UFC or CM Punk sides for doing this. Should they have? Probably not. But they did. The lower mid-card fighters who were angry that their spot was taken. I read, I forgot the tweet, but it's very simple. You go out there, you say things to get yourself attention. You are your own product, and you have to do your own marketing here. And just wins isn't going to do it. Much like pro wrestling, you make your money with your mouth. That's how you're going to make your money, kids. As for the trolling stuff, look, people eventually.
I don't know how he's not the new. I don't know how he's not the new Jordan crying meme.
I think there's a lot of fans who will take the quote-unquote company line for Punk because Punk's just made himself so unlikable, even though I think he's in the right, to be honest with you, and I think he was right to stand up for himself. I think it was good for him to do that. WWE also has laid out matches. I mean, if you remember that Punk-Bryan match where they aped the Chael Sonnen Anderson Silva 2 fight, they've been known to, I mean, they do their, I mean, they bring this on themselves for trolling the UFC over and over again. I mean, you saw in the start of the Dolph Miz match was basically Gall Punk. So, I mean, they bring this on themselves, and Punk being part of something like that brings it on himself from wrestling fans at times. And it's not like he can't take it sometimes.
Am I the only one who looks at Miz versus Ziggler and thinks that Miz is too big for that feud? A question that was sent in. They had a great match the other night, but yeah, I think Miz should be involved in something special right now.
Well, right now it's like, well, why do you want to watch Dolph? There's no reason to watch Dolph. There's nothing in the character development. His promos aren't very good, and Miz has been growing by leaps and bounds. I loved the suit look tonight. He's ditched a lot of the flake stuff, and he's becoming a little bit more serious to be taken as a main event type of player, I think.
Somebody says, Sean, was the CM Punk fight worth it? Was he worth the amount he was paid? Hell yeah, he was. If you were to break that down, if UFC gets $25 out of each pay-per-view they sell on DirecTV, they get more, especially based on HD. Then 20,000 extra buys paid off his flat fee. Now, that's before pay-per-view and all that stuff. And he sold way more than that, hundreds of thousands. He probably added probably anywhere between $8 to $12 million in revenue for this show.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of that was hate watching. They wanted to see CM Punk lose. And the irony is the next 2 fights were total pro wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Good Lord.
Man, that Fabricio Verdum flying kick was That dude is the most magnificent friggin' troll I've ever met and ever seen. I've never met him. He is unbelievable because I don't even know if he wanted to finish the fight with that. I think he just wanted to let Travis Brown know what he could do.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Hilarious.
The the somersault kick that he tried at the end of round 1.
Did you hear the fight that I pitched on the post UFC 203 show?
I'm trying to remember it, but remind me.
CM Punk versus Edmund.
Oh, two guys with no defense.
Yes, I want it. Somebody asks, will the UFC cut CM Punk? No, I don't think they'll cut him. I don't necessarily think he will fight in the UFC next, but I think they will do very much a Jessamine Duke or a Cyborg thing where they hold on to his contract and they pay wherever he fights.
I don't think they'll make him a on-screen analyst, but they may make him an on-screen personality.
You know what they could do? And I think this would be a brilliant idea. And Showdown Joe pitched this idea. He said, hey, I'm sure that Titan FC would love to have him. Titan FC airs on UFC Fight Pass. If they put him up against some donk, those UFC Fight Pass subscriptions, boy, are they shooting up. They are going way up. Way up. And you tell him, hey, listen, buddy, you got your ass kicked. Fight for the $500,000. And if he wants to keep up that image of, hey, he's doing this because he wants to do it and it's for fun and all that stuff, sure. Maybe even give him a little cut of the extra Fight Pass subscriptions. I don't know. I'm not saying, hey, he's going to fight here next, but I think there are far worse ideas. Because if he gets released, Bellator's signing him tomorrow.
I think he only has one more fight left in him before he just decides to move on to something else, something more artistic, so to speak. I think this is his last athletic endeavor. If it is just one more fight, sure, put him on the Titan card. Don't cut him. If you do cut him, I think you have to come to a severance agreement that he won't fight somewhere else. But overall, I don't see him wanting to grind out another camp. I think, especially given his net worth and being still kind of a newlywed, I just don't see that being appealing to him. And I see him going, well, you know what? I tried it. Now I need to find another goal. I don't see him as being, I need to succeed in this because people have been shitting on me necessarily. I need to win a fight. I don't think that's it. I don't think he cares about that.
I still think that if he calls WWE tomorrow, he can main event WrestleMania.
He's not.
He's not going to. But he could, if he wanted to main event WrestleMania next year, he could.
Now, if you told me he was going to New Japan for a run, I would put money on that. Yeah, and
I fully expect Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk in 2018 in New Japan.
I could see him fighting like a Minoru Suzuki to get his tough guy credibility back a little bit. Yeah. And I could, I know Punk pitched coming to PWG for free for a bit. I don't think he's going to go that small, but I could see him doing, Ring of Honor may hold a little bit of want for him just for nostalgia's sake. But overall, I think Japan would be where he'd want to go because he'd never really had a strong run there. And New Japan being hot and being the quote-unquote work rate fed, so to speak, I could see him wanting to do something with like a Tanahashi and Okada out there. Sure.
Somebody says, is Asuka going to SmackDown? She might be an NXT lifer.
I think so. I think that was the plan too. They put her up there to make the new kids better, and they know she can't speak English. I mean, or English very well. Now, if she had a manager or a spokesperson, or if they wanted to sign someone, like if they wanted to re-sign Sue Young, who had already had a run with the company when it was FCW, sure. But I don't. The way they book and what they see as money for professional wrestling is not what we look at it as. I could see her coming up there and being a killer, and especially of having like a short-term program with Charlotte for Night of Champions, and then going back to NXT and losing in some fashion. But they don't see tough woman credibility as something to embrace. They want blonde fitness models who, guys ogle at, and at the same time, the de facto girlfriend type of thing That's what they want. They want, sexy, smart, cool, whatever, the old thing when they had Kelly around. So, I mean, she doesn't fit into the Vince McMahon lexicon. I'd much rather have her on NXT than being wasted on the main roster.
And finally, our last question, somebody says, is Cesaro going to SmackDown? Where do you think he fits in? Probably Intercontinental title picture, but yeah.
I could see it. I mean, especially if they trade Miz out, but I don't know because, I mean, what do you do with him? They have enough baby faces. He'd get lost in the shuffle here. He's not a main event player to them. So he'd be stuck kind of where he is right now at that upper mid-card level fighting for the secondary title. I mean, there's no improvement for him there other than him liking Daniel Bryan.
I could see them like announcing a match, but then also announcing that The Miz has been traded, but The Miz has to fulfill that obligation. And like the pressure is on. You could do a SmackDown main event off of that where it's like Cesaro versus The Miz or somebody versus The Miz to keep that title on SmackDown.
Look, given the ratings of Raw, we may not have these split rosters for much longer. I mean,
yeah, that's pretty rough. Do you think SmackDown beats Raw in viewership this week?
Yes.
Boy, I can't wait. Can't wait to find that out. You can find that out at Fightful.com tomorrow, guys. But Jeff, before we go, tell them about Shake Them Ropes.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I don't know what our schedule is going to be this week. We did a post.
Will there be a hat eaten on the show?
Not yet because we're waiting. Well, because Rob has promised. We had a show Sunday night after the pay-per-view. So please go listen to that for right now. And we hope to have a live show after the Cruiserweight Classic tomorrow night. It just depends on if the times line up and whatnot. Rob brought this up on Sunday. A hat of some kind will be eaten. But there needs to be some sort of planning in this. It's not going to be an immediate thing. There's logistics. Oh, but he didn't believe it for a year. And he was looking for outs. He was looking to see if a no contest would save him in some way. It won't. Rob is Rob's pride is very, very hurt right now. And because Rob was out there peacocking, saying this fight will never happen. I'm not going to have to eat a hat.
He went to a Blink 182 show because he was so convinced that the fight wouldn't actually happen.
Yeah. He
wasn't even watching the show. He was at a Blink 182 concert.
His chutzpah got the better of him here, and now he's eating crow, and Rob is not the best at eating crow or eating hats. Yes. So
well, we don't know if he's the best at eating hats. He might be the best at eating hats.
I think he's going to make it into a fajita of some kind. Don't quote me on that.
When they did the Team Bad thing, and Naomi's acronym for it was, "We are best at dominating." And I was like, well, that's a shitty name.
I agree.
Rob can be best at eating hats. What's the Team Bad?
Bait? Or no. Best at B-A-E-H. Yeah. No. But follow Shake Them Ropes, all one word, to see if we're doing a live show tomorrow after the Cruiserweight Classic. You can follow me at CrapGame13. And as always, I'm here most Tuesdays. So, hi.
Also, guys, I am back tomorrow evening with Showdown Joe talking MMA. We're going to talk the UFC 203 Fallout as well as this weekend show. Then I'm back after the Cruiserweight Classic with Alex Palowski. We're going to talk about that show. Back Thursday with Matt Riddle. If everything goes well, it should go well. Friday, Vince Russo. Sunday afternoon at noon, back with Showdown Joe to talk that UFC show. Fightful.com is the place to be, guys. We're about to do a lot of giveaways, like signed books, DVDs, card games, things of that nature. So go to Fightful, get registered. When you register, you get access to our forums, which are being tweaked with right now to make them more user-friendly. We want you all to live on those forums. Very important to us, so go there, use those. Also, when you register, you get access to Vince Russo's columns, Showdown Joe's columns. Brandon Howard has some badass analysis coming up that you can only find at Fightful.com. We have exclusive interviews. This week I have Chuck Congo and Joe Warren of Bellator. Joe Warren, a 2-division champion. Chuck Congo, former UFC fighter. Also, like I said, we've interviewed guys like Muhammad Hassan, Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier, CM Punk, of all people, we spoke to. He talked about Brock Lesnar, AJ Lee. Those are under our exclusive sections. We have the most live viewing parties of any website in the world. So come there, hang out, talk some trash, all that stuff. We want to make this as user-friendly as possible. Guys, until tomorrow night, we are out.